Yo, Zach Bradshaw, the Greensboro SEO Pro, here to deliver your promised SEO audit video. So, first and foremost, thank you, homie, for filling out this form. I know it's long and laborious, but you did a good old job answering these questions. And just to go over how I do these, I'm going to run through this form first, and I'm going to go over the one thing you need to do to rank in Google and then stay there, really get to the top and stay there. And then we're going to talk about what I call your foundation of authority and then your digital footprint. And then in the last part, I'm going to take all the rambling I do prior to that and try to make it into a step-by-step process of what I think you should do. And obviously there's some nuance because there's more detail we could have about your goals, your sales process, there's a lot there, but we can do a call, or you can just ask me questions via email or chat or whatever, and you know what I mean, clarify anything. That's because I'm gonna straight up put your brain through the blender in this. It's good that you have some context and actually know, you know what I mean, like you're working in MailChimp and stuff like that. You have this list of keywords here, but it's, you know, SEO is big. It's really easy. All you need to do is like do the work. It's not extra stuff you need to pay for. But you got to do everything. It's like it's a job of thoroughness and lots of times tedious tasks. So, just looking these over, there's a lot of targeting you could do here. And in order to rank for these things, you need to have more content. First and foremost, more content on your site about these, not just have them in lists down the front of the pages that are kind of obscure and not quite, you know, easy to see, especially on a mobile phone where I couldn't even get some of it to pop up on some of the pages. So this is excellent. This should be seen, like bragged about on the website a little bit better, as well as these should be in prominent places. Like I'm a fan of taking every single review you have and putting it straight up on your website, just like in some you know, one place, but kind of just like wow, that's a gaudy list of reviews you guys got there. Thanks for posting a page of just like, I'm just scrolling through reviews forever. Let me go back and just call you because I'm not reading all these reviews, but thanks for showing me you got 300 as opposed to the 30 something that show up within Google, you know, My Business and things like that. So there's really lots of opportunity to do things like this that would increase this rate so that people are already ready to buy when they call you at first. And that's, you know, interesting. I bet that there's lots of ways that we could increase this through, you know, MailChimp is an autoresponder. Like HubSpot is a much more powerful CRM, and there's you know, Constant Contact is strong too. Infusionsoft is awesome. But there's more you could do with that I'm sure would increase that ultimate conversion rate. And some of that can be text on the page that, you know, one thing I noticed you guys were doing is talking about affordable, and that's great and all, but you could also go for high end, and you know what I mean? I'm not sure what the balance is there and what, you know, if the money is, how the money works out within the specific industry on that. But for most of my clients, SEO is great for pushing up the average ticket price in multiple ways. Some of that can be with follow-up or add-on services that is sometimes easy to rank for. A good example is a carpet cleaning client I had that you know, he wanted to rank for all this carpet cleaning stuff, and then, you know, I dive deeper into his business model and find that he says that his highest profit margin by far is air duct cleaning because he doesn't have to spend money on like solution and all those other things. He literally just has a super powerful vacuum that cleans out your air ducts, and it takes him like an hour or something like that. And it was that was his best product, and it was really easy. It was much easier to rank for that than the carpet cleaning stuff. So there could be things like that where if you're in a flexible position and they're, you know, kind of have these, you know, getting into these long and short term goals, you have an opportunity to let kind of SEO or marketing weaknesses kind of determine, because like, holy crap, there's $100,000 worth of revenue a year here because the competition for this specific thing, and maybe that's what you're seeing with photo booths, but there's, you know, lots there. And when you getting further down here, when you point out Complete Wedding Lancaster as a competitor and looking at what they're doing, you know, do you guys want to also do the photo stuff? Do you want to niche down on weddings? Do you want to like how flexible, and where is, you know, I know there's the, you know, the weddings are the bread and butter, but I wonder, there's certainly, just looking at it, you could definitely be higher when it comes to Greensboro weddings, wedding DJs. But you could very easily, because your name is Dow Oak Events, also probably grab for wedding photographers and wedding videographers and maybe wedding like event planners, and maybe just find some partnerships that you're able to leverage other local people that may be great, but just like haven't taken the time to rank or don't know any SEO. And that's kind of an advantage that SEO can give you, where you can kind of throw your weight around in related industries and people will want to work with you because, you know what I mean? You have the potential to drive them leads and you're not a direct competitor. Now you can, there's lots of nuance there, and we can, talk about some of that more. And that's him, and his speaking platform is definitely a part of that could be incorporated into that. Him having a personal brand is also something that could be incorporated into that. I would definitely recommend he get ericmassimgale.com. If you really want to get to number one, and dominate, that's probably looking at a $2 million a year business or something like that, depending on what you're trying to get to number one for, and if it's all the way across North Carolina and things like that. So in a corresponding manner, like, what is the budget there for those things? Everybody wants to dominate and be number one in the industry, but if you need revenue now, AdWords, a really strong AdWords campaign may be a better bet, or because Facebook hasn't reached its maturity yet, Facebook ads or even Pinterest ads could be a really good way to go, because Facebook has the ability to target people that have recently gotten engaged, for example, and put ads in front of them. That's kind of cheating. Now, those are going to be higher competition now, but over time, those numbers are going to go up. There is still really undervalued now if that's something that you want to do. Facebook ads are a pain in the butt, but they can be really effective for certain industries. And if you're have the balls to think in the long term for Facebook ads and do branding, kind of like TV commercial version of it, then you can like become a name. That's like how people are going to become like the new, I can't think of a local business that's in High Point, but in Greensboro it's John's Plumbing, that is like everybody knows them. And then there's some lawyers like Daggett or Schuler or something like that. But let me move on. Now, this is something that if this is just like one package or the average customer, when you're thinking about your average customer lifetime value, like, hate to say it, but most of these marriages are going to fail. Now, 1 out of every 20 may want to come back and use you guys again. The other 19 may be like, well, let me try somebody else because we had bad luck on the first marriage. But if you have the ability to follow up and remain a brand over the course of that, 1 out of every 20 sounds kind of, low. So that you could increase this number by about $70, say, if you were hitting 10% return clients. Now, you may not hit 10% return clients, but there's also things, again, that we can do to push this number up, and have there's lots of good follow-up services within the wedding industry where you send people their little memories thing or whatever it is. And obviously DJing is different from photography, but there's what are your goals? You're trying to get a photography booth, right? So or I guess you guys have it or something. So paid advertising, social media, again, they can be great depending on your goals, but SEO is the one that changes businesses. Depending on what you're doing, social media, any advertising can change your business. Let me not be too audacious. Winning wire, looking to, yep, okay, none, yep, new customers. So this is just to say the average lifetime value of your customer, and this is what we call like LTV, lifetime value of a customer, and this is what we call CAC or CAC, customer acquisition cost. And they're basically the sales arbitrage that you do within internet marketing, especially when it comes to advertising, so that hey, we make $200 profit margin on this service, we can spend $180 to get a lead. You know what I mean? And now, depending on what your goals are, you may need to pull more money out. You know what I mean? You may need to make $300 in your pocket on every single sale that you make. But if again you're able to get follow-ups, if you're able to get referrals, some people will add referrals, like one out of every 20 bride will refer us to another one, and you can factor that into your average lifetime value as well, if you understand how to do some advanced functions. Otherwise it's not quite accurate just to lump those in together, because it's not quite apples to apples. But you know what I mean, knowing how much you can pay for a new customer is like one of the most important things in a business. And when you're thinking long term, I am willing to spend like $5,000 on certain types of customers, because I know that they're going to make me much more than that. And it's even, you know, in certain instances, I may be willing to pay the same amount. For example, I'm gonna be targeting real estate agents soon, and I don't have to make profit. I will take a loss on the first one that I get, because I'm going to be creating case studies for it, that then make it easier for me to get other lawyer clients down the road. And there's a bunch of nuance, and like, where's your business at? Where's your numbers? And eventually I'm going to be on to like full consulting, so I can like really help people with this. Most people don't understand their numbers, how much they need to make off of each thing, how those numbers change if like their sales double, or if their sales 10x, and where are the things that in my case, it allows me to give you like a performance based proposal, if that's something that you wanted, where it's like, well, when we get to this spot, you pay me that much. When we get to this spot, you pay me that much. And it allows me to you know, potentially offer like, hey, let me just get 5% of the business, or something. You know, I mean, there's a lot of nuance within that as well, but it's, where's your business? So let me not ramble on too much with that. This is about SEO. This is important. Promotions are huge, and so you can just increase this price so that you can do promotions. That's a great way to do it. That's an awesome way to do it, actually. And there's lots of things that are, you can target. Like if you ran on social media, ads saying just like, hey, like a veterans get $200 off or something like that, right? Other people will share that, because people are like, ooh, they're helping veterans, and they'll want to share that. And that can help you get what's called earned media, where people just want to cover you on the news, or they just want to, you know, it's called going viral on social media, but it allows you to, it's great for SEO, and it also allows you to, again, brand as somebody that like, hey, supports these different groups or different things like that. What is your biggest concern? Yep. ROI has to do with timelines, and you know what I mean, what your actual goals are. So before this gets to like 15 minutes, before I get on to telling you some stuff about SEO, let me go ahead and move on to that SEO. So the only thing you need to do in order to get to the top of Google and stay there is to beat your competition across any single niche within SEO, and really any location. You really just need to look at what you need to do, searches, see what Google shows, and then beat those people across, you know, a couple of different mediums. And it's to a large extent about doing what legitimate businesses do within that industry. And it's what Google can see that legitimate businesses do. So for example, with restaurants, it's super important that you're on Yelp and Urban Spoon. For you guys, it's more important that you're on like The Knot and Wedding Wire. And so it's understanding where the what Google is measuring, what Google can see, and looking at your competition, or looking at, you know, for example, these same search terms in New York or Las Vegas or Los Angeles or Miami, and seeing what people are doing there, that is head and shoulders above what people are doing here. Now that's, you know, a little bit advanced, but for, you know, many of these keywords, you know, you guys are showing. I put in wedding DJ near me, and I live by the Coliseum, and you guys show up first within maps. Then surprisingly, you do not show up within organic search. And so when maps show up, they generally get about 40% of the clicks would come here. So, you know, you probably might be getting 15% of the clicks from this search right here. But then 30% goes down here to the organic, and when the organic has things like people also ask, or some other elements that Google comes up with, that number may get balanced a little bit more, so that this is 35% of the clicks. Now this is 35% of the clicks. Some of the rest goes to ads or to people who actually click through over here or onto related, or don't click anything and do a different search. So there's again nuance to everything within SEO, but it's when you show up first for this and this together, it looks much better. And it's surprising that you guys don't show up this much down here. It's one of the things that we say it really across any sales industry, is that people need 7 to 15. Sometimes you hear a number like 15 to 22 number of like touches, essentially. People need to contact with your brand that many times before they trust it. So, ideally you hit somebody with the ad up here. They see you in maps right here. They come down to this. Wow, they're first again right here. And then you're also down here at number 8, and they finally click through to this thing at number 8. You know what I mean? Or, they scroll through a couple times, or they do different searches. Obviously, people trust Google, so that number can be sped up a little bit. But in the long term, you're really including Google as the first part of your funnel. And then those different clicks, somebody may click through deep into your website to then determine that like, hey, this isn't the right fit. Let me go on to somebody else. So there's, again, nuance to everything. But this is great. I'm surprised you're not again down here. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, for that within your industry, and definitely within Greensboro itself. Now, just doing wedding DJs, you guys don't come up first because it's not like near me. It's slightly different. The ads, who's winning on the ads here has changed. But again, other people that are specific brands, not only are large brands beating you like Wedding Wire and The Knot, but Triad DJ, K2 Pro Weddings, and there you also have like K2 Events or something like that website, Traxman, all of these, AM Wedding DJ, all of these are beating you within the organic, which is quite surprising. So for example, K2 Productions is probably doing the best, because they have this K2 Pro Weddings, and if they didn't try to over SEO things and would just put everything on one website, then they would probably be doing better themselves. But you see here, they could also do it better how they're doing it now and probably have both their websites showing up here. So there's, again, there's nuance to everything. A lot of it comes down to budget, but you guys should be showing up in organic, in my opinion. Then now I've actually put the location in the search. You see Google's showing less ads before they get to the maps, because they're like, people want to see the map here. And now you guys aren't showing it all. And again, not showing it all on the organic, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, not all. And another scrub competitor is showing up on organic as well. Coming over here to Events DJ in Greensboro, getting away from the weddings. You see a new competitor showing up, but you guys are also showing up here. Google has an extra element here that they're, you could potentially do some, try to steal this and get more real estate on search. But again, nothing in organic, which is surprising. So event lighting specialist, I just wanted to check this one out because you guys do some type of lighting stuff. Doing this search, Google's not even showing a map, which says to me, like, this is California. It says to me that there's no good competition in Greensboro for this, and you could probably just steal this. It may not get very many searches, but it looks like you could easily, with the page that you have already, if you got it better and did some extra things, dominate this search. Now, photo booth and rental, Greensboro NC. This is somebody that's kind of doing SEO on the level that I'm doing it, and not really doing. Their SEO is not nearly as good as mine, but for this search, this brand is showing up, right? So this is not I didn't search for a brand. I didn't search Triad Photo Booth Rental at all. I searched Photo Booth Rental Greensboro, but Google's given them this element here, which is something that I have if you do a search for Greensboro SEO expert. Now, part of this for me, it's because of my name, and that's part of it with them too. But you do a search for Greensboro SEO expert, which my brand name is Greensboro SEO Pro, and I have this because they're saying this is the Greensboro SEO expert, and obviously I'm freaking dominating this with my homepage, my Greensboro page, my LinkedIn, 3 videos across it, Greensboro SEO. I should have something else on here too, and then my Medium post down here. Looks like I have a couple new competitors that I need to smack back down to where they belong, but you can see that this is a very powerful thing, and you now need to like break this down in order to break into this. So if you were strong and you started to come up this, if you made it to number 8 and you were really well optimized for this, this would go away for them over here, but a map would appear at a certain point. And then eventually, like at first when I came onto this page, there was no map. There was a couple of people like BizBoost Pros was number 1. Triad Web Service was up there. Some of these other ones are new, and even Rank First Local is new. They're big, but they're new. And these guys didn't. BizBoost Pros was the clear winner, and it didn't show a map at all. As I got to like number 8 and number whatever else, a map showed up. Once I got to about number 3 or number 2, I quickly shot up to number 1. The map went away because it established me as the number 1. So if you were just to search for Greensboro SEO expert on your phone, like, hey, who's the best in Greensboro? Like asking Google or Alexa or Siri, it's likely just to tell you Greensboro SEO Pro and stop, as opposed to trying to give you a full rundown like, here's some options near you, which choose the closest one or whatever else, like it tends to do. So I've showed you this in a guest thing, so it's not dictating results by what I've been on, and I just wanted to make sure that it didn't go through all of the different like tools that I have set for me. So let me turn on a couple of things and jump right back into it. So now I've turned on the Mozbar. It's a free plugin that you can use that helps to basically identify the power of websites as you're doing search results, and then as you go onto the websites themselves. But it's a measure of all of the incoming links to a site, which is part of the digital footprint, which I'll touch again on in a couple of minutes. But it kind of lets you see one measure of your competition. It's certainly not the end-all be-all measure of your competition, but it's a strong indicator of how authoritative these different websites are. So you see the domain authority is the full website, how strong it is, and then the page authority is, let's zoom in a little bit for you. The page authority is how powerful this specific page that ranks for this is. So this is a measure of weddingwire.com. This is a measure of the Raleigh DJs page. This is a measure of the not.com. This is the measure of their North Carolina DJ wedding vendors page. And this looks like it's probably 4 levels deep. That's what that's showing, is basically the breadcrumbs to the site. This is their category hierarchy. And this is just Wedding Wire has a Raleigh DJs page. This is the Knot has a wedding vendors, then wedding DJs, and then a North Carolina subpage. So here, this is just the homepage. So this is the measure of triaddjs.com, the whole website. This is a measure of the homepage of triaddj.com. This here is the full power of weddj.com, and then this is just for their really crappily formatted DJ Greensboro page that Google can't even read what this is to put it into breadcrumbs that people can understand. So that just shows you how, even though this is like an authoritative site, and generally when I see authoritative sites like this, like Wedding Wire or Yelp or The Knot, for instance, for you, or Realtor.com or something like that, at the very top, I know there's weakness, because Google would rather have somebody like me dominate as Greensboro SEO Pro for a keyword like Greensboro SEO Expert, so that they can return that voice search, and they can play with that. You basically get a first mover's advantage right now for that. If you're able to dominate that search term, they would much prefer that. So if you guys could establish yourselves as the wedding DJs in Greensboro, which I think there's definitely a potential to do that, and it's not about doing that in real life necessarily, which doing that in real life helps. It's about establishing yourselves as the dominant wedding DJs to Google. And there's certain things that you do in order to do that. A lot of that has to do with what I'll go into about your foundation of authority and your digital footprint. Now, again, Thumbtack is showing up on this, showing weakness. Thumbtack is showing up with a second page. Gig Masters, all these things are showing me weakness because they'd much rather have K2 Pro Weddings, which is messing up their profile by having, again, 2 separate websites, or they improperly doing that. Triad DJ, and there's a couple more, you guys, that they would prefer to show, that you're probably just have a gap. You're just missing something, and I have a couple of ideas of what that may be. Now, what my doing searches within Zach Bradshaw also does is kind of shows me what, and actually, let's do Charlotte while I'm have this turned on. Load. Okay, so you see here that, again, the competition is not that great. I mean, 30 is certainly decent, but there's a 20, a 21, a 35, and then again, these big sites that Google would prefer not to show, especially, like, I'm sure they hate this URL, and it's doing worse than some of these other ones, but there's lots of things here that it looks like you guys can, at the very least, it will, you'll have to get past this. These do present a barrier, but the fact that nobody has broken through them shows me that you can get to here quickly, that you can supplant whoever is right under those. You can establish yourself as better than them quickly, and then it's a kind of like a 90-day and maybe a 6-month and really like a 2-year scale on how long it takes to weave your way through this and change these search results completely so that you like show up. Now, because you don't have a location in Charlotte, you're not necessarily going to be able to establish that in Charlotte, but you can see, for example, going back into a guest window real quick. Let's make sure it's real quick. If you do a search like Raleigh SEO expert, I am above the fold. They show me before the maps, and I bet if I wasn't ranking in Raleigh, these guys would be below the maps. That they are showing people above the maps because they think that it's not necessarily, you don't have to be in Raleigh to be the most relevant to this search result. Now, rank first local. Wow, rank first local doesn't even show up here. That's really interesting. But this is something that you guys could probably do as well, where Dowok Events shows up in Raleigh, in Charlotte, wherever else, and that's obviously something we talk about dominating, getting to number 1, and probably talking about $1 million worth of revenue a year. That is a potential if you have the ability to spend the man hours or the budget to get it done by a professional. Again, you just have to get it done. Now, this is a tool I use called SEMrush. They show a bunch of different stuff. Let's do that and jump into your, not just jump into your project. So this is a list of different keywords that you guys are ranking for at different spots. This tool doesn't I have to basically create a second project to do it, but it can't measure at the same time the map and then organic, so it can't show you that you're also showing up number 21 within the regular search results for these different things, but you can see that for some of these, like Wedding DJ Greensboro, that gets 30 searches a month by this, that costs about $7 per click on average in AdWords, that you're showing up number 2 for. You've seen some of these things in the searches that I've done. Same for Events DJ Greensboro, Wedding DJs Greensboro, etc. But there's a lot more variations of those that you're also not showing up for. And then there's some random things that aren't helpful to your business, really, like country bouquet toss songs, top recessional songs, top bouquet toss songs. And if you wanted to rank for those and have a big old wedding brand, then certainly those could be helpful to you, but they're not as important. There's lots of blog posts that, if they were about different things, you'd have more potential. Then looking at photo booth rentals across different things, you're not showing up at all across different places. And then same for like events DJ Raleigh, just throwing things in there like Greensboro Entertainment, you're not showing up. And it measures the top 10 pages of Google. So essentially it's the top 100 results, but there's, a fair bit of keywords that you're within the top pages that if you got to the top pages, they could be helpful to you. Some of these, for some reason you're showing up for like Lumineers Greensboro. Some of this is, I pulled a list directly from what the tool was saying you already rank for in the top 10 pages. And then I added some other ones that, could potentially be helpful. So photo booths Greensboro, you're already on the 7th page. Events DJs in North Carolina, you're on the 7th page. No, that's not the, let's see. Wedding cage, blah, blah. Well, whatever. I'm not going to go through all these. I'm going to just send you this list of keywords. And you can, there's AdWords and SEO significance for these different things, and I can help you with that. I'm also going to give you a link to like the best AdWords course ever as well. And then, you can ask me whatever questions you have about the different keywords and how you show up for different things. Again, the main thing is to do different searches, find what Google shows, and then beat people in terms of like your foundation of authority and your digital footprint. Really, there's a lot of nuance in there with those different things. But your foundation of authority, and I guess I turned it off, but the Moz bar would show that your website is sitting on, I think, a 28 or something. So you're competitive in terms of the links that you have to your site to other like triaddj.com and things like that, but you're for some reason not showing up in the organic searches, which is really where that comes into play. And when I come on your website, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. So yeah, a 28 domain authority, and this page has a 36 page authority. You guys should be number one, not just in the maps, but below that as well. Now, this website looks nice, especially because of the photos, but it's really missing a lot for SEO. Now, just going over some of these things real quickly. You need more content in here, and you need shorter, easier to read sentences. And a lot of this is like hard to look at. It's too cluttered and too close together. And on mobile, I just had some issues where some of this stuff did not load at all. And one of the main things about SEO is having the keywords that you're trying to rank for on your pages. And there's wedding DJ. There's a lot of them in here, but it's also about the nuance of various versions of what you're trying to rank for. So if you go to do searches for, or if you just go look at, Greensboro SEO Pro's homepage, or really several pages across the site, you will see that I talk about, I specifically have phrases SEO expert, SEO consultant, SEO agency, digital marketing agency, consultant, expert, internet marketing, agency, consultant, expert. Now, for you guys, there needs to be kind of the same things with events in Greensboro events companies, event services, events support, events, whatever the different, ways that people would put it in, so that you can rank for all of those things. It's largely a game of synonyms, and in order to be able to fit all those synonyms on the page, this page needs to have 1,000 words on it. It also probably needs to have a more dynamic type of layout, and how can I say it? Display, like showcase these things better. It's hard to even like these shouldn't be on the same line like this. Like, people are going to have a hard time reading this and noticing these awards in that way. It's just poor design, and that's what I see a lot when people use Wix. Moving to WordPress would be amazing for you guys, but you wouldn't necessarily need to do that if you don't have the budget for you. It's definitely in terms of a 10, 12, 15, 20 year decision. Moving to WordPress 3 years ago was the best idea. But it's, you can probably rank on this Wix site because it is already strong if you extend some of this content. I would make this homepage events. If you want to niche down to weddings, you can niche down to weddings, but it needs to be an events page, then it needs to be a DJ, then photo booth lighting, kind of how you have them, but all of these pages need to be extended. When you like display, you know what, let's show this one. When you display things like your testimonials, they can't look like this. Nobody, like, that is so hard to look at and read. And it's, if you want to do them in a slider, this thing needs to automatically be moving, so that it like catches, wow, that, yeah, that's, this execution is poor. And I wonder how it looks on mobile. Oh, now it is automatically sliding. I guess I was hovering. Same with these things. They're kind of just, lots of this is just really cluttered. And Google can basically see how people perform on your pages, and it's important, like Google can read those signals. So whatever signals Google can read, you need to make sure that you do well for them, and there's several of them that you guys are missing out on here, and a lot of it is extending content, having more keywords on your pages, but two, it just needs a cleaner design to a large extent. I can provide you plenty of resources on how to shore up the content on your site, and we can talk about moving things to WordPress if that's what you want to do. There's again ability to extend this, but you also want to think about every single different like niche, so like you should have a corporate page. You should have a social events page. You should have a wedding specific page. They should have pages for each of these locations that you want to, rank for, especially the larger ones, so that you can do like what I'm doing. It's much easier to rank with a page that is like / Greensboro corporate events. Now, if you rank for Greensboro corporate events, that may open up the door for you to, like there's catering opportunities, there's photo opportunities, there's a lot more if you're targeting these larger event space things. Just kind of, what are your sweet spots? Now, each of those pages should then interlink with each other in places that it makes sense for them to interlink. So if you go and look at, one major thing before I miss it, you guys need an about page and maybe like a team page in our story. It's great that on one of these pages you can like click through and see people's, like you have profiles for different people, but those were like even hard to find or hard to see. Google is all about some about us information, so you look like a more legitimate company, and it provides lots of keyword opportunities, and it also provides good interlinking opportunities. So if you go to greensboroseopro.com and just look around my like what we do, those type of our about page and those pages, you'll see that I basically just wrote new sections to link to the other pages. So there's on our about page, there's an our team section, so that I can create an opportunity to link to the our team page. And you'll see that across all of them, everything is find an opportunity to link to the free SEO audit page and back to the home page as well. So take a look at that, and you can kind of replicate some of that stuff, and creating a nice list of branding and about information, then some long gaudy list of testimonials, and have it all in an about tab or why us tab, could be a really powerful thing for your conversions that not only is great for SEO, but also raises that 33% close rate on the calls. And also probably like there's also a conversion rate that's how many people who visit your website actually call you. How many people who see you in Google just go ahead and push that call them now button, and it's there's conversion rates at every level, and the higher on the process you increase conversion rates. So like the further to the top, like the larger number of people that you increase the conversion rate on, the better. So having your homepage that most people are going to see increase this conversion rate 5% is going to also magnify that that 33% final close rate 5%, because you're getting 5% more people to that down the road. Tweaking at different stages is important, and it's kind of where you're at. If you guys need more sales now, it may not be go for more traffic. That may take 6 months. It could be like, hey, we tweak some things on our sales process so we can get this 33% up to 40%. Now we have an extra $5,000 to play with a month that we can now reinvest into marketing, or whatever else makes sense for your business. Now, that is essentially your digital foundation. You want to go look at that Lancaster Group website and beat it, and do it for things that which of these specific keywords make sense for you guys to target, and go after those. Some of it could be dictated by what is easiest to do, the low-hanging fruit. Some of it could be dictated by like what you really want to sell and do better at. I think that you shouldn't stray too far from your bread and butter first. It would definitely be smart to get to number one for organic and maps for wedding DJs and just smash the crap out of that, because there's a big difference between being number one and number two in the amount of calls and clicks and things that you get. There's a huge difference between being number one and number 8. Generally, like number one will get 15% of the clicks within organic, and number 10 will get like 3% or 1%. That fluctuates based on the industry as well, but it's always the top is 10 times as much as being at the bottom of the first page. And obviously, if you're not on the first page, you're not getting any of it. But let's move on to your digital foundation now, or your digital footprint. So to a large extent, your digital footprint is your off-page is what people call off-page SEO, but to me it's more than just off-page SEO. This is off-page SEO is basically things that are not on your website that correspond to SEO, your backlinks and other things like that. But for me, it is it has more overlap with the real world than that. So again, it's about doing the things that other people in your industry do that are legitimate, that the other legitimate businesses and well-run businesses in your industry do. And it has it ranges across a bunch of different things. Having news stations pick you up and put links to your site, or doing other types of advertising that has people go to dowoakevents.com and just go straight to it also helps. People actually searching for your name, Dow Oak Events, also helps. But there's lots of different things to it, and it's smart to at least look at your backlinks and then look at what are called local SEO citations, which I think your backlinks are already decent. They could be stronger. You could do some things that would do I have the backlink report up? Yeah. You could get much higher than a 28 pretty quickly. Like you could probably get close to the 40s, which would definitely shoot you up above those other large domains that, despite them having like a 82 or 90, they are again not what Google would prefer to. They would rather be able to show somebody's better than these lists that are like top 10 or top 6 or top whatever. That's showing that they don't know who the best is, so they're more likely to show those pages that have multiple ones. Now, there's a variety of things that could be improved. Your anchors are the words that are used to link to you, and this could certainly be more varied and help you out. But this is not, how can I say, this is not very many backlinks. You could have a lot more backlinks within this, and some of them are, somewhat free. When you just look at where some of these are coming from, 33broad.com is linking to 34 times. That's like less powerful than 34 backlinks from different sources. Now, 3 best rated linking to you is great. That's probably a large portion of that 28 domain authority is coming from being on this list. That's a great job in doing that. And then this one that is a German site that is also giving you 17 links. Now, looking at these backlinks, this is kind of a measure of their the different power that they have, but you really only have 3 strong links. This is from the Carolina Wedding Expo or something like that, and this is from Pinterest, so like a Pinterest on Instagram site. So this is all of these links down here are basically saying that they're not very strong. Some of them have been lost since they've first been seen, and there's lots of room to grow here. But again, because you have certain links, you're already probably as far as you need to get when it comes to like, if you went and studied some SEO and they're like, here, you need to find guest posts and links to your site and press releases and stuff like that, you probably don't need to do that. Certainly not first in order to rank locally. And now if you got those national ambitions, you got those statewide ambitions, you got those, we also want to get into, South Carolina and Virginia and maybe a little bit of Tennessee. some Georgia, and some West Virginia, some maybe a little Kentucky too, then we can talk about those types of things. But for the most part, you're probably where you need to be with your backlinks. What is lacking is your citations. Now, this is a free tool. Most of these tools that I've used is free. SEMrush, I'm using their paid version, but you can come in here and make an account. You can get like a limited number of searches, maybe 10 or something, depending on what the tool is. But it's, you can do lots of these same things that I'm doing, and play. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. This is a tool for search engine marketing, so it's SEO and AdWords, and there's lots of things. I'm not even close to mastering that tool. Now, when you look at this, is basically a measure of your directory listings, and one of the things that you're missing is, the Knot and Wedding Wire are great. You need to be on 100 other directories too that really only have a SEO significance at this point. Now, some of them actually do get some traffic, I'm sure, but the main point of them is to have your name, address, and phone number, what is called your NAP, on those web pages, and then also, if possible, a backlink to your site. Even better is to put some photos on it. Even better is to put some geotagged photos on it. And better yet is to also add links to your other social media profiles and things like that, and really create like a web of interlinking branded properties. So things that have Dow Oak Events name on it that all link to each other, and basically sculpt or manipulate the domain authority and get your Facebook page up to a 16 page authority, get your Google My Business page up to a 16 page authority, get your Tumblr and these other things that you don't have yet up to higher domain authorities, your Yelp, and also your Wedding Wires as well, so that they can potentially show up below your website on some of these searches that you're trying to target. Now, this is a quick tool that basically measures some of the top citation sources. Again, I have a list on my website that you can look at. That's the top 60, but we have a list of like 250 of them, depending on what your industry is. We don't have like an extended one for weddings and some of the things that you guys do yet. So I'm sure there's a number, probably 30 or 50 important directories other than the Knot and Wedding Wire that you should also get onto, and you should maximize your profiles on each of these. You need to put in as many pictures as you can. You need to have the longest description you possibly can. You need to add all your keywords where they let you do it. If they let you post, then you need to post a link to one of your other profiles. And you need to fill out all your social media information. Make sure you have a link back to your site. And if you do that, you're probably going to end up at a 34 or a 36 domain authority within 90 days or 6 months. And you're also going to be #1 in maps. You're also going to be, I think, there could be more nuance to it because you're really not showing on the first couple pages within organic for some of these. Certainly, increasing the size of your website is also another factor. But this will probably also bring you up to the first page of organic as well. Certainly, it would put you first on maps for lots of these things, and also help you with searches that are like best wedding events in North Carolina. But these are listings like super pages and info group and New Star Local Ease and City Grid and insider pages. And there's a list of there's various lists online you can find that are top 50, top 100, top 150. There's ones I'm sure that are wedding specific. Like if you guys became my client, I'm sure that I would do some research on, let somebody else who's done this before, done wedding specific events before, help inform my decisions. But we always end up finding other ones that people aren't, might not necessarily know about, or at least aren't putting training online about. Now, you do have your Yelp, you do have your yellow pages, and the fact that you have Wedding Knot and Wedding Wire, things like that are great. You need to make sure that you have, one of the things that I'm noticing is that they have 2 addresses for you. You need to have one address online everywhere, and it needs to be formatted the same way. You need to figure out how to do that. And there's, any of them that are, you can use this tool to find ones. Clearly some of these you just aren't showing, but you need to go figure out what this format needs to be, and you need to decide, it's probably this, it's probably this one, with the capital C and with this, and you need to try to get that across the internet as many places as possible, preferably with a backlink, preferably with your name and your phone number as well, your full NAP. Now, there's lots of really easy places for you to do this on. Again, make sure these profiles that you have that correct information. are fully used. Have your Twitter added, have your Facebook added, have like every single thing possibly that you can added to it. And then do the same thing across your social media profiles. So here within this page, you need to have more about information, right? So you need to have links to more profiles. Like you guys should definitely have a Flickr. You guys should definitely have, I think you can add a Twitter in here and other things. And then you need to use the story element and add all your keywords within what we call a press kit, which is basically like you create a 4,000 character business description that is full of keywords, full of branding information, and then you break it down to a 25 character version, a 1,000 character version, a 750 character version, because all of these different platforms allow different lengths. Now there's multiple about us, story, and other elements within Facebook. Ideally you use all of them. You put as many keyword optimized, but also great for users, great for people to read, that says like, oh yeah, they're the greatest DJ ever, all over this page. Create lists and whatever else. You can look at some like Greensboro SEO Pro to see the things I've done there, but do the same thing across LinkedIn, across Tumblr, across WordPress.com, across a variety of other profiles that you should make just for this purpose, and to sculpt that domain authority. Here's an example from Greensboro SEO Pro.com of our Tumblr profile. This is our typical press kit. You'll see this description across a bunch of different places, and it strategically links back to our site with keywords. So the triads top SEO expert, that goes to my homepage. On a different site, it would say something slightly different, like maybe just Greensboro SEO expert, or best SEO in North Carolina, or something like that, or maybe it just says Greensboro SEO Pro by Zach Bradshaw. It could be what you link to is the keywords that you're trying to rank, but you want to also vary it up. Now, some things like Facebook in your descriptions aren't going to allow you to link to your stuff at all. And there's, use it when you can and don't when you can't. Now, you see how long this description is, how many different keywords I just pretty much inserted in here to say like we do all these services. Then I also linked to other pages I wanted to rank on my website, and you will find this description across a variety of different profiles that we have. And then these profiles link to each other as much as possible. Now, you'll also see that my Tumblr, and you'll see the same thing for my Blogspot and a few others, that they repost every single thing that we create. And I see now that I need to delete 2 of these out because those should not be public, 2 videos. But then they also repost, like this is a full blog post from my site that it is completely reposted, and this helps to build up the authority on each of these individual blog posts. You guys should set this up for yourselves. It's fairly easy to do. You need WordPress to do it as well as I do it, but there's a variety of, you can definitely do it with a Wix site as well. Now, the same goes for every single social profile you have. So like for your YouTube, you also want to add these links in here. You also want to have descriptions for every single video. Go back right now, do it today, go into the YouTube videos and put descriptions, fill out as many characters as you can, add as many, use some hashtags, and make sure that you link to your site at different places with different pages that you want to rank for. So rank for your specific, link to your specific services pages, your home pages, and really all your pages. Before you do that, build some pages too. Now, you also have a little about us description, and that's how you do these links up here. So for me, I have 10 different links where I've interlinked all my social media profiles here. And this is helping to make all of these profiles stronger, because now they have a link from YouTube, which has 100 domain authority, stronger than the Knot, stronger than Wedding Wire, stronger than anything else. And now I've essentially just siphoned a little bit of that off, sent it to my other stuff, and certainly sent it to my homepage of my website, which is also laid over here. Now I have a little description that's got some keywords in it, you know what I mean, for different things that I want this to rank for. But then within like this video for my site, it's got a full description of, it's even got my phone number included. It's got my a link to my website twice in here. And looking at this now, I'm going to vastly improve this, but I have a variety of different keywords within this too. Local SEO expert, Greensboro SEO Pro is one of my keywords, search engine optimization, rankings in Google. There's a lot of synonyms and, green SEO experts, consultants, and agencies in Greensboro. Like, that's a lot of keyword meat right there. And there's, you'll see this across like every single piece of content that I create. It may get shared to a different social media profile, as is, and maybe change a couple of words with it. And that is like, you do that and you're going to rank. Now, because you're on a Wix site, there could be some like fatalist issues. And so anything that I say, like, oh yeah, you'll definitely get these results, especially when it comes to organic, where you're not showing up. Certainly with maps, if you do that across social media, where you add links and you make sure like all those social media profiles also have my name, address, phone number, like Greensboro SEO Pro, 2400 Rose Street, and 336-549-1992. And that helps with the maps. But if you also improve your website, you're definitely should show up probably number one for organic within 90 days or 6 months, depending on how, 30 days if you really went in on it. But the web pages need to be expanded. They need to be, I have you also in my projects over here. Now, they need to be expanded, and they need to be, there's some additional optimization things that you could also do with them. Come on, man. Oh, I don't want to edit the name. So this is your a site audit from SEMrush that's not, some of these numbers are a little bit dramatic with like 484 notices, but some of these are definitely things that need to be fixed. Now, duplicate meta descriptions. You can just look up meta descriptions. I'm probably going to create some videos today on meta descriptions. But these need to be shored up. You need to have unique meta descriptions across all your content. You have one page that's not on HTTPS. I'm not sure. I haven't looked deep into that issue, but you should definitely fix that. Then you have several pages that have a low text to HTML ratio, and this is the main thing that I'm saying you need to fix. That means you have not much content, a whole lot of code on these sites, and that's partially because you're using Wix, but also because you have short pages. Now, you can increase the word count on your pages, and you may get rid of some of these warnings, but this is only 15 pages that don't have very many words. There's 60 pages that is saying have bloated code, and that's part of being on Wix. It's awful, just to be honest. And there's lots of things that WordPress improves upon instantly. And then there's also the ability to split test, integrate with Facebook, integrate with everything better because it's WordPress. I think like 33 or 50% of all websites online are WordPress sites, and many of them in the top like 5,000 sites on the web. And it's prioritized by everyone else. So MailChimp is going to integrate with WordPress better. HubSpot, SEMrush integrates with WordPress better. Google's own tools integrate with WordPress better. And it's just because it has a really high adoption rate. The same reason that Ethereum is worthless and Bitcoin is going to win, but that's a whole nother story. Now, you also have just like a ton of extra pages on your site that are live and crawlable to Google that just should not be. So Google wastes time looking at some of these pages that are worthless to anyone. So this is, you have all these pages that are indexing like every search that somebody's ever done on your site. So, or I'm not even sure that's what they are, but you can see that this is if you click through and open this, this is the search on your website for Wake County photo booth rental with a hashtag in front of it. And you don't need that site to be live on Google. That is hurting what's called like your crawl budget. So improving your site would be great. You can do it first, to be cheap. You can just increase the length of it. Maybe just increase different, more pages for all those different targeted pieces of content. But separate from that, and, first, or if it's all about budget or time or whatever, you want to do the least possible thing first and then move on to the next. You can create all the different social media profiles. Like what I have, we call it a ASSN, which stands for Auto Social Syndication Network. It reposts everything automatically from your blog and from YouTube, and you can set it to repost, like cross post lots of different things if that's what you want to do. And we can offer that as well. But create all the social media profiles, make sure they all interlink, and that will sculpt your domain authority and should help you in organic. But I really think just going on 100 different directories and getting yourself to first in maps is a sure shot that you could do for you. If all of your descriptions also include 100 words or whatever about photo booth rental, about lighting specialists, or whatever else, those citations will also make sure you show up first in maps for those types of things as well. So you know what I mean? It really depends on your goals and budget. Sorry for rambling at you for 60 minutes. This is the longest one I've ever done, but I really wanted to give you plenty of value here. Ask all the questions you have. We can definitely talk about some AdWords. I'm going to provide some resources for you. We can meet up, chop it up. What I'm saying? I usually provide this audit, then offer to take people to dinner. So, we can do that. I'll take you to Lucky 32 or something else dank. We can go from there. I'm perfectly fine just coaching you through stuff if that's what you want to do. Just let me know. And I guess until then, peace.